of shaky cam in this movie. Lots and lots and lots. Should we do the whole movie review like this just to make it really, really apt? What do you think?
You're not shaking it enough. This is the thing now. Do we record me driving?
Yeah, so you can tell. Look how terrible he's driving. He's bad.
I'm good at driving. I can drive like an American. Fucking automatic cars.
See all these Americans with their driving in their cars and their...
Here, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. Lights are in roughly behind us, so we should actually turn it the other way around. The primary light source is behind us.
Okay, I'll go
Oh, I actually will hold that.
go over to the Saturday spot.
Okay. This is really exciting. So, we saw Barbara Crampton in 3 movies today, quite by accident. The first 2 were deliberate because they were review movies and I was taking notes.
I like Barbara Crampton. She has amazing breasts.
And they were very amazing back in the early 80s. But yeah, we didn't realize that she was in You're Next until... Well, I personally didn't recognize her, which is really impressive considering she's one of the most attractive women for her age. But I'm wondering, has she just...
It's because she didn't get topless.
That's true. So I'm wondering, did Barbara Crampton, has she actually started aging, or did they actually ugly her up for the film? I need to know this. I'm going to look this up.
So, just to give you a taste of what the film was like. Hello! Still shots were recorded like this. Not to accidentally shoot the camera as we set it up.
Oh, wonderful. Everyone wants to see me, apparently.
Well, you're the more attractive of the 2 of us.
No. Okay. Before we begin the review proper, you'll notice that this review isn't on PME. It's not on Cinema Chat with Demon Hagan. Just for the next little while, my vlogs will most likely just be on the Hagan blip like they used to be. I hope that shortly they'll be back on Cinema Chat. Even without my vlogs being there, please go to PME, go to Project Million, watch their stuff, because they got good people there who are talented, okay? So, you know, check them out, and enjoy the fact that this one is on my blip, so it's on my blip, and it's going to be on Tigritig. So, hi guys who don't usually watch my vlogs. Most of my vlogs are over on ProjectMillionEntertainment.com, so if you want to see other vlogs where we discuss things like Elysium, Battle Angel Elysium, and Lickass 2, and Ring 4...
And Twilight.
Yeah, that we did a Twilight Marathon, so go check them out if you want. If you don't...
They're up on Project Million.
Yeah, or Cinema Chat, which is a blip channel.
Cinema Chat with Amanda Hagan.
Yeah, it's a blip one, so... On to the movie. Well, back to the movie.
Back to the movie.
You're getting a fuckload of spoilers. Okay, actually, before spoilers.
Oh no, before we go back to the movie. Hey all you little reviewers, I'm not a reviewer. My face will be on the front page of Tig with Tig. Sorry, I get a kick out of that.
Okay. The first thing, the first 95% of this movie is really, really, really fucking generic and pretty stupid. It's like if The Purge was made, all of the home invasion stuff was made with the, what do you call it, with the tropes of a 1980s slasher movie.
It's like if it's the camera crew from Cloverfield tried to do Scream.
It was filmed like, actually if they tried to, less of Scream, because Scream's which one of our main characters is the killer type thing. It's more like if the crew from Cloverfield tried to do like Halloween.
Yeah, okay, that's more...
Because it's a completely separate killer.
Except for the first scene, what would be the pre-credit sequence, that was filmed like...
That was just pure slasher movie.
That was pure slasher movie, and some of the shots in it were beautiful. I think that was what the director wanted to shoot, and then the rest of it just happened to happen.
The rest of it was... There were parts of it that were filmed like a Vietnam War film, and not a good Vietnam War film, you know, like one of the bad ones, like, honestly, I can't recall right now, but it also, it was like they were trying to beat Oliver Stone, which is really weird considering the dad in this looked like Oliver Stone playing Rick Santorum.
If I'm not being, well, I am being extremely hyperbolic here, but take this at the face value. If you want to get camera shots like this movie had, get a skateboard, put 5 Hitachi vibrators, attach them to 6 car batteries each on the skateboard, then a little tiny tripod with a shitty camera on it, and push the skateboard around your house. Maybe you'll get shaky cam like we had, but...
It'd be very low to the ground. Their shots were higher up.
Well, put a bigger tripod on your skateboard. I don't care. Oh no, get a jackhammer. Attach a jackhammer to your skateboard with your tripod on it.
Won't the jackhammer go through the skateboard?
No, you attach it sideways so it's just going and getting confused.
Isn't going like that, actually, rather than like that.
The shots were very shaky, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they were. Except for the occasional shots when they were like, oh, look, we got a really, really crazy, slow motion shit on this. Let's do a really slow motion shot of a light bulb exploding and watch the filament go.
Let's do a silly...
It's like we got a very short-lived slow-mo guys episode in the middle of the film every so often. And
let's do
only one was interesting.
lovingly crafted still shots of Juice being bored. Every shot of somebody filling up a drink was like...
But then whenever someone was attacking, it was like, oh, we can't let you see it! Although afterwards, I'm going to have to explain to you, there is a lot of similarities in parts of this film with the horror script that I wrote. And I'm not telling you guys it, but there are some similarities, not in the concept, it's more of the visual style and some of the story elements, which is quite funny.
My hair is a mess.
Oh dear.
Speak.
Okay, we're going into spoilers now.
Spoilers.
Okay.
It's not very good.
You got a bunch of twatty family people, and they all get together with their spouses, and they all yell at each other, and then these guys in black masks and black suits and masks come and decide to kill everyone.
3 brothers and their spouses.
And their sister.
And their sister and her boyfriend, and their mother and father. Mother who's Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, and the dad who is Oliver Stone is Rick Santorum.
But one of the things I noticed, our whole family hasn't been together for such a very long time. This could get interesting. Then it cuts to a family portrait that was obviously taken about 10 minutes ago. Because everybody looks exactly like they look in the family portrait.
This is true. Although it could have been like Photoshop thing. It was like, make my family look 10 years older. Oh, this is going to confuse people. If I had a lot of money, I think I'd do shit like that. Paint me as an old person in a cowboy hat, just in case I am old and in a cowboy hat, and I can be like, and then we're like, oh my god, you haven't aged at all. Oh yeah.
It actually puts me in mind of a very good prank to do on reality TV, or something like that. Something like Just for Laughs. Just for Laughs did stuff like this. Just get somebody on a park. They had a joke one time where they had an old granny sitting on a park bench, looking through photo albums. It's like, oh, I take a picture on this park bench every year. Look, here I am now. Oh, look, here I am today with you. Because they had somebody taking a picture of them and printing it out and putting it into one of the albums in the bag just to confuse people. It's like, oh, look, here I am 5 minutes ago showing you my photo albums in the photo album. That's what it put me in mind of.
How'd they get the picture from the camera to the photo album?
Basically, the woman had 2 photo albums. The first one was older pictures. And then, while they were looking through the old pictures, somebody took a picture, printed it in a wee digital photo
bring
printer.
it down, slip it in.
And slipped it in,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Amusing. Yeah, so it's them, and the people come in and kill them. And costume-wise, they reminded me of... now, I'm going to make a challenge here. None of you have seen the Scottish thriller Patrolman. None of you. I'm sure. I've barely seen it. But the bad guy's costumes looked just like, except that it was in Patrolmen they had better masks because they had like full-on balaclavas. But they had the balaclavas, but then they had the mouthpieces were not seemed like the Minions. But then over the eyes they used these sort of massive like snow goggles and stuff. So it made them look much more imposing than I'm wearing a really cheap animal mask.
Speaking of the really cheap animal masks, the guy was doing sniper shots with a crossbow wearing a really cheap animal mask with tiny, tiny eye holes that were at least an inch away from his eyes. Your field of vision is about, I don't know, an inch wide at
He was obviously really good at crossbow.
Well, I could even see the house. If he turned his head slightly, he would lose it.
You could see he's really good at crossbow. You ever seen Daredevil? It's like bullseye. It's like... He was probably sipping tequila while looking at, like, porn at the time, just going like, "Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh." Holy shit, I killed one. This one's for you, Omega. If you don't see the film, then suggest that Melissa watches it, because one of the three bad guys looks like an evil version of Steve.
Yeah, she grabbed me and pointed this out halfway through the film. That guy looks like such and such his friends of Omega.
He looks like an evil version of Steve, which is just like, wow.
Well, the people behind us had their mobile phone confiscated.
Did they?
Yeah. A guy came in, walked up behind us. "Oh, excuse me, sir, can you turn the phone off?" "Oh, sure. You got another text, and he started answering. "This guy told you to turn the phone off." And it was like, "Oh, yes. He came back up a third time. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave or to give me your phone."
Yeah, I did not notice that. Obviously, I was too engrossed in the film. Yeah, it was very, very generic and boring. But once, now, because it was done really, really, as serious as this sort of film can be done, until near the end when the lead woman jams a broken blender into a guy's skull and turns it on and, blends his brain. At that point, the film became amusing, and if it had been like that since the whole thing...
Then it would have been an 80s slasher film.
It would have been fucking amazing. Well, this one... Well, they could have easily done that if they... because they have the Australian woman who is bizarrely good at killing people, and you have these guys... It would be like a slasher movie where the slashers constantly get killed off by the hero. It would be such a lovely inversion of slasher movies if they had done that. And it's sort of like that, but they're just nowhere near ridiculous enough. And then, of course, you have the twist, which was... I worked out it was either going to be the twist they had, or they were going to kill off the boyfriend by accident. It was going to be one of the two. Or possibly the one would have come across his dead body, but that would have happened earlier.
Yeah.
So the twist is not exactly shocking if you realize that there's going to be a final twist.
So there's these kind of spec ops looking guys, but with weird, stupid animal masks, killing off everybody. And there's a Australian girl who just happens to be really good at not getting killed and killing everybody else. Yeah. Except for the point where she goes crazy and beats the guy. Like, just keeps beating him after he's dead with a meat...
Yeah, the
meat tenderizer.
The backstory they give for her does not explain why she is so good at killing people. It explains why she's good at laying traps.
And hunting and foraging for food.
Yeah, and shit like that, but not that she can kill all these guys really, really efficiently and then goes nuts and sort of splatters people's brains. I mean, okay, the backstory they give is that her dad was a survivalist and they went and lived with other survivalists in a big compound. I'm not entirely sure Australia has a massive survivalist population because she's Australian as all fuck. If they do, I'm guessing her dad saw Mad Max and thought it was a documentary. Now, if you're Australian and you think Mad Max is real, it's not. And it was directed by a dentist.
It was?
Yeah, it was. He was a dentist. He saved up his money and he funded Mad Max, and then he made other films like Happy Feet and Mad Max 2 and 3, and he was going to make a Justice League movie. Yeah.
Mad Max and Happy Feet, same director?
Yeah. Mad Max 2 and Happy Feet 2 as well. He's currently working on Mad Max 4, Fury Road.
That's funny, because I really liked Mad Max and I really didn't like Happy Feet.
But they were very dissimilar films. So that was George Miller. He was also going to make a Justice League film in 2009. He got as far as casting before they pulled the plug. It was going to be a CGI film. Toe Cutter from Mad Max who was Sergeant Gross in Man from Hong Kong. He was going to play Martian Manhunter. Now you know!
And knowing is half the battle.
Creature's going to write about that in the comments on my Tumblr. He always watches through this and there is an interesting point. I will mention this in the Tumblr. I will mention this. I will mention this. Now people can just read the notes and then they don't have to watch the vlog. But Thank you, Creature. You're eating into my ad revenue.
But if we continue to talk about Creature, will you have to write about Creature?
Yes, write about Creature.
Yeah, there's some points about Creature SH in here.
Yeah. Write about Omega as well, please. Omega is the most wonderful person I know. Write about her a lot, in gushing terms. Make everyone think that you're having an affair with her. That's how I know that you're serious about how wonderful my girlfriend is. She's not my girlfriend, she's my wife. She's going to kill me. She's going to be here in like 2 weeks and she's going to kill me.
With a knife to the head or a blender?
Blender. Definitely. She's. I'm a bit taller than her. I'm freakishly tall, so she wouldn't be able to hit me with a knife to the head. So what she would do is like take me down at the knees with her massive hobnail boots, and then she would blender me in the head. Hi, honey. I know you watch these.
That's a good question, actually. The survivalist.
How will she kill me?
No. Going back to the movie. The first guy they killed with the meat tenderizer, first thing she does, she kicks him in the balls, and she breaks one of his knees. Then she starts beating him in the head. Surely it would have been a better plan to break his other knee, break both his elbows, stand on his chest, and demand what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, I was like, my thinking was...
She had him completely at her mercy. She could have questioned him.
My plan would have been... My thought was, at the time, was... You sure you don't want to question him? Although then, story-wise, because the two people... You know, partway through the film twist... One of the brothers is in on it, and he's arranged this for the inheritance, and his girlfriend there. He's the one. Okay, these two, they never said anything, and then the girlfriend is just this quiet, edgy goth girl.
She's so edgy. She smokes, and she has a black bob, and she chews bubble gum at the dinner table when the food's being served because.
And she rolls her eyes. She's like this the entire movie. She's like.
I honestly don't get the whole manic pixie goth girl thing. They're always a villain. They always chew bubblegum while eating.
She wasn't manic.
She had the look of the manic pixie dream girl turned goth.
She wasn't manic. She looked like Korra from, not the Legend of Korra, the Tron 2.
Yes.
Tron Harder.
Tron Shitter. Also, she had her knee up at the dinner table, almost cuddling her knee, bizarrely uncomfortable. It's like, I'm eating dinner right now. I'm chewing my bubble gum. That's going to ruin your meal. That's just hurting you, love. Just calm down.
It was like... And what was really weird is the characters tended to be killed off with the exception of the Australian, in the order of their likableness. The first two to die were the two most likable, like the sister and her boyfriend, who is this filmmaker.
Yeah, the filmmaker was like, yeah, I've only actually released one film. It was a documentary to an underground film festival. Well, an underground film festival, do you sit in a cave? Har, har, har. It's funny. You're not a finance banker. I think they were trying to make the audience laugh at independent filmmakers.
Yeah, it's... Possibly they died before they had the time to make us irritated, but when they died, and then... The only other character who really didn't irritate me, okay, the mother didn't irritate me, the dad looked like Rick Santorum enough to irritate me.
I find it really funny. It's like, well, my wife is lying dead on the bed, but this is a bottle of urine! I am horrified at this!
And then there was later on, they're like, oh no, my mother went up to sleep and then she was murdered, and then the dad gets killed. So then they're all like, oh, where's dad? Oh, he went up to sleep. Oh, that's like, that's a really good cover story for what the dad is. Is he going to sleep beside his dead wife? Are you going to claim it's suicide when you find him he's got his throat cut?
We found him with 6 knives in his back, 2 in the chest, both his legs broke, and his throat cut.
No, that was the irritating brother. Well, they're all irritating.
You broke my bit. We found him with 2 knives in his chest, 3 in his back, both his knees broken, his throat cut. We declared it suicide.
With a note saying, I'm glad I killed the bastard. It's...
And you're next painted in blood on the wall.
Yes, they wrote You're Next when they did the pre-credit sequence where they killed the next door neighbor. And I was like, okay, they're, setting it up, whatever, or it was at the time it was set up like it was a psycho killer.
Yeah, that would have been more interesting of a movie.
But then later on, whenever someone else came to see the place, Your Next was gone. That place was tidied up, and the guy was left looking as though he was listening to music. And apparently, they're playing the same fucking song over and over again in the neighbor's house, really fucking loud. And every time the song restarts, it's like disc restarting. So this fucking disc has one song on it.
Well, it was an unmarked disc, so somebody's just burned their favourite song onto a disc. But, oh yeah, that's another thing that the pre-credit sequence had over the movie. Gratuitous nudity.
Yeah, it was like so 80s, there was like nudity.
Nudity, an old man fucking a young woman, all the standard 80s stuff. Better camera work, a cooler location to be honest, instead of this really old house.
Well, they wrote You're Next on the wall.
No, they wrote it in the window.
Well, I'm sorry, in the window. They do that in the house later on, and it's like, okay, that's their calling card. But then they got rid of You're Next from the original location by the time anyone else gets there. So Why write it there? You're trying to freak out the person, but they're all going to be freaked out because they found their partner dead. And then why wipe it away? Because then the police aren't going to find it, so they're going to be slightly less likely to connect the two things together. Are they going to go wipe away your next and the next one to make them fit, or...
Well, he did state he was going to clean all the blood up.
Why write your next, then? They're already freaked out. It's not really necessary.
Their mother is lying dead on the bed.
Why need to write that?
Also,
it
what
took
the fuck
time.
what the fuck was all the fuck me on this bed next to your dead mother shit about?
And he's like, I don't want to fuck you on my dead mother's bed. Yo, you never want to do anything interesting. I think I've just proved that point is wrong by the fact that I'm trying to kill my family.
It's like, this conversation is over.
See, that
Weirdest lover spat ever.
That was whenever it was beginning to be interesting. If they'd just done weird shit like that, it would have been great.
Yeah.
But really felt for the Australian girl because it reminded me weirdly of a little bit whenever I went to... And I met up with Omega's family, and I was like, her partner going there and meeting an entire bunch of different family members all at once. Now they were all lovely, and nothing, untoward like murder happened, but it was just like the slight uncomfortableness you get when you're in an unfamiliar house surrounded by a bunch of people who know each other, and you're the odd one out, especially being foreign. I felt connection there.
The only time I've really been in that situation, my partner at the time, his father, appeared wearing a thong and carrying a guitar pick, and he sat in the corner of the living room and proceeded to sing songs on his imaginary guitar. Maybe the most uncomfortable dinner I've ever been at.
You win.
If you're watching this, I still hate you, and don't bother to contact me.
You win.
He was very drunk. It was awkward for everybody involved.
You still win. We talked about Barbara Crampton, Oliver Stone as Rick Santorum. We got a trailer for The Prisoners, the thing with Hugh Jackman playing Reverse Wolverine. I say Reverse Wolverine because he's got a beard but no sideburns. I noticed, for Prisoners, I noticed the twist in the trailer. The character who is helping them sort of, work out who the criminal is, who kidnapped their children, he's called Detective Loki. Loki.
Detective Loki. His best friend is Detective Subtle.
No. Loki.
I know.
In fact, so I'm calling it now, based just on the fucking trailer. I've seen it twice. I did not catch this the first time, but the guy kidnapped the person is not the person that they capture thinking it was. It was Detective Loki, because he's called Loki.
I just think it's funny. It sounds like he's Detective Low-Key.
We missed anything with you were next? It's not much to say about it, really.
No, it was just really generic. I liked some of the stuff she did. The Australian girl thinks like I do. She set nail traps. The axe above the door was stupid, and we all know that.
You used the camera.
Yeah, the camera thing. She used it slightly differently than I would have. She darkened the basement, then set up a camera in the corner to auto-flash every couple of seconds. Although how you quickly do that with a random digital camera, I don't know. But, and then she jumped out behind the killer as he was approaching the camera and started beating him to death, all while her eyes were bleeding from the flashing on the screen. But I would have used the camera to wait until he was downstairs in the dark with me, then...
I would have had it behind me, because then you're directing it away from yourself.
Exactly. I would have had it... I stood behind the camera, closed my eyes, flashed the camera at him so that he'd be fucking blinded for a second, lose his night vision, then go up and kick him in the nuts and kill him.
Did he have night vision?
Relatively.
Ah.
But...
there was something...
Not night visions in the goggles, as in a bright flash of light would ruin your ability to see.
One other thing to mention. The Australian woman, my backstory for her was much better, and it was when I worked out while she was just randomly killing people. And my backstory was, this is an unofficial sequel to Wolf Creek. She went there, she met up with Jim, I can't remember his name, the guy from Wolf Creek, and she was in a hunting thing with him, and she killed him, and then she went to America. And if you haven't seen Wolf Creek, shame on you. It is the best slasher movie of the last, I want to say, 25 years. I made Janelle and Nicola watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first 40 minutes, they were all like, this is really boring. This is just like a crappy travelogue or anything. And then the halfway mark is in Wolf Creek is where the actual slasher movie part begins. Within about 4 minutes, they demanded I turn it off. Not just because of the violence, just Wolf Creek is fucking brilliant. As a slasher movie, really, really, really good.
Let's just talk about the whole horror genre for a moment here.
Okay.
I haven't seen a horror film that's come out in the last 7, 8 years that has actually scared me. I don't mean to sound jaded there, but I thought the whole point of horror was to be terrifying.
Yeah, this film had a lot of jump scares based entirely on noise.
Yeah, there's one where it's just like, Daddy, and it's like, ah!
You notice the soundtrack occasionally would fart at you, although it sounded like, I'm sure it's some sort of Tibetan horn, but at other times, it sounded like the fucking cloister bell on the TARDIS. Very distinctive sound.
It sounded to me like somebody playing a trombone at the bottom of a very long cave. But it's not the normal Inception. It was sort of like...
Yeah, there's a really big Tibetan horn that makes that noise. If you must have a really just random, crazy noise to put into your film like that, you know, as a musical thing, use the crazy electrical thing that does that.
The theremin.
Oh, no. There's an electrical instrument, a particular one that just makes these loud noises. And I can't remember its name, but it was used... it was used in the score for V'ger in Star Trek, the motion picture.
I know what you mean.
The sort of the cascading sort of electrical crash. It's like a musical lightning. It's wonderful sounding. That's a much better sound. Oh, and John Carpenter is very happy that you reused basically big chunks of a lot of his scores as well. He appreciates that.
Another thing about the soundtrack in this film that was really bothering me was at times it would mix in. The house was big and creaky. This was mentioned a few times. But oftentimes I couldn't tell what was supposed to be the characters walking around, or footsteps, or just the really annoying soundtrack. Parts of the soundtrack sounded like footsteps when there wasn't supposed to be footsteps in the film.
And there was times when the guy was in the basement, but he did a really loud yell at the very start with the parents.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, yelling, and it sounded like he was like echoing. It wasn't even echoing, it just sounded like the sound balance was completely off.
Also, the father was the most useless character ever. There were two guys hiding in his house. One in a cupboard, one under a bed. And he went upstairs to investigate and didn't manage to find either of them. Even though he heard movement in the cupboard.
Well, remember the brother or someone stopped him from checking that one room. That he was about to find them in the cupboard. But then, which was it? Which one of the brothers arrived?
The fat one with the beard.
Okay, yeah,
The mastermind.
Yeah.
I liked her comment at the end. But why? Why the fuck not? Just as she's killing her boyfriend.
Yeah, it was like fat American Patty Constantine.
Then we had useless cop show up.
And then the other brother, the irritating one, he got stabbed about 8 times, which was, about 800 times too little. He looked like American and irritating Danny Dyer.
Oh, you mean the unkillable cop, the unkillable brother?
Yeah, it's like arrow in the back, stabbed around, and then stabbed about 7 times, and then it was like, why won't you die? You're making this very difficult for me.
He got a barbed crossbow bolt to the back. He fainted for a while, took some Vicodin, got up.
Was running around.
He was running around. He walked into a tripwire and knocked the crossbow bolt. Then he broke the bolts off, leaving half of it in his back. Then he went downstairs and was looking for tools.
And then he collapsed, but then he woke up again and he's like, I got a second wind. Tra-la!
Tra-la-la! And his brother was like, Duh!
I'm going to be a knob about everything again. Rah!
His brother was like, well, I'm sorry about this.
Why the fuck?
Fucking! Just die! This is hard enough for me! And he's just putting more screwdrivers in him.
Yeah, it's like he was turning the guy into like a work shelf.
And then he was just like, it's like, just die!
And like, why the fuck did that brother do that anyway? I thought the whole point was, let's kill everyone, but not make it at all obvious that we were involved. Have them be survivors. So why not just leave the masked assholes to kill him? It's the Australian that's the problem. That brother's going to get himself killed at some point anyway.
Why were they trying to kill the Australian anyway? Surely they were in on the plan that we had to leave the Australian alive.
Yeah, they only started trying to kill her once she sort of started fighting back. Those guys were sort of not in control of.
Also, 200,000 for a hit. Price has gone up. Well, I suppose they were killing.
They were sort of Connecticut-y, rich white people, though.
They were killing 6 people, so 200,000. That's 600,000. That's 100,000 a hit. That's all right. Like, I wouldn't pay it personally.
Saying nothing.
I have never ordered a hit on anyone.
You don't have that kind of money.
True.
Awkward silence.
I love the awkward silences. Oh yeah, we were talking about ratings at the start of this film. I didn't know you could have a film completely banned from release. I thought it just had to be unrated and just released.
That's how it is in
privately.
America. If the stuff in the film is legal to be seen, then you can release a film with anything that's legal in America with an X rating.
Britain, you suck.
Unrated. You don't need to have a film rated. In the UK, however, it needs to be rated. If it's going to be released generally through shops. You can sell it online, though.
Great Britain, you suck. And your film rating system sucks. But it's more friendly than the American one.
Oh yeah, watch, this film's not yet rated to see how fucked up the American rating, the way they do things is. The UK one's like, hey, we got a few cunts in this word. We'll check it. That's fine.
It was basically, I saw it online a few weeks ago. Simon Pegg put up a link to it. It was like, this new film we have, World's End. It has the word cunt in it quite a few more times than our last film. Should you give us a bit of guideline about the last ones? Can you tell us how to use the word cunt? And they cut back a 3-page massive detailing every example of how to use the word cunt and what was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate to have in a 15-rated film.
Yeah, if the word cunt's used in a friendly way, then it's okay.
Such as, hey, you cunts.
Yeah, which is a very Australian sort of way to do it.
Or London.
Well, it's sort of, I think it's taken up from Australia. In Australia, it's both a swear word and like a...
Term of endearment. As well as Northern Ireland.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing that's developing across the non-American English-speaking world. And I'm fairly sure it originated in Australia. Personally, I'm happy about that. The fact that the term cunt is considered the worst swear word in the English language just strikes me as misogynistic. It's absolutely horrible. It says that there's something intrinsically worse about vaginas, which most people apparently who dislike the word think it's misogynistic, and I gotta completely disagree. It's a word. It's a word describing a vulgar word describing a type of genitals. It's no different from twat or dick or cock or whatever, and the fact that this is considered so much worse says a lot about how society views vaginas.
To quote a crazy guy on YouTube who is very weird, we're all from the same place. Vagina.
Is that the German?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that German. He's nice. He's really funny.
Oh, the German who doesn't quite understand things?
Yes.
Yeah, Omega likes him.
I like him. I do puppet parties. Anything else to say?
Not really. It's generic as all hell. It's got very interesting parts. It's nice to see a full-on gory film. I'm just surprised that this is in the cinemas, to be honest.
I'm surprised it's an 18.
I'm not so surprised. It's 18 is a very broad term.
I know, but I didn't see anything in there that I would expect not to see in a 15, apart from maybe just how long her tits were on screen for.
Put it as it's a very broad term. So I'm just surprised I'm surprised to see Barbara Crampton in a prominent role in a film that's in the cinema in Derry, which is nice because Barbara Crampton's fucking awesome.
Yeah, she is.
But I don't see why this is a cinema release, to be honest.
Well, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, if they're going to put this film in here, then why couldn't they put the Laid to Rest films on? Laid to Rest 2, Chrome Skull. They're some of the finer American modern slasher movies.
I forgot to say it though, but every character in this movie looks like they just got their teeth whitened and bleached. It was really weirding me out, just how big and white their teeth were.
Okay.
I have very small yellow teeth.